insert drink, and hit play. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to A Shot of, and you are tuned in to A Shot of Dr. Sleep. You have John Daniels here. I have my two counterparts with me.
The Right Honorable Javier Ian Marcellus Ignatius II, Esquire.
And Bruno Diaz, a.k.a. Johnny C., a.k.a. Johnny Walkers.
Yes, JVR and Johnny Walkers. Okay, guys. So we went to go see this movie based off of Stephen King's original novel, which was then translated into Stanley Kubrick's film, as far as an original goes, for The Shining. Now, this is the sequel to The Shining, and it portrays Danny, who's the kid in The Shining, all grown up now, all messed up, all weirded out, and he actually runs into other people in his community, even all over the country, that have this shining power, and they call it something else. So we're just going to play a trailer here in the background while we talk you through it. Guys, what'd you think?
Well, one, it was ambitious. And I think I like the idea a little bit better than the execution. Because a lot of the concepts they explore and talk about in the movie are interesting and follow on naturally from the Shining universe. You know what I mean? The things that were established in the first film. And so there it had promise. It's just, I don't know, I think it was trying a little too hard maybe to be its predecessor, which you just can't do unless you're Stanley Kubrick. I mean, there's kind of like a hit and miss track record with these like 35-year sequels, you know?
Yeah, 35-year sequels, yeah.
Yeah, so like forever, or what is it, 41 years? I don't know. How many
it's something. It's decades apart from the original,
Yeah.
so it could.
Well, the book, it came out not too long ago, actually. Stephen King actually wrote the sequel to Shining.
So then maybe it wasn't that far off.
So that's why you couldn't make a sequel.
That's why you could.
It's easier to make a sequel now than there's something to base it off of. But yeah, I think that's part of it. And also just in him coming back to that universe, Stephen King, like, I think problems with this movie are probably the same. Maybe the same in the book. I don't know.
Yeah, just to kind of name drop here, we do have Ian McGregor, who plays basically the main guy, Danny, all grown up as a kid. Rebecca Ferguson, who is essentially the antagonist. They call her Rose the Hat, and you'll see her in the trailer. She's kind of like sucking some spirit either out or into another girl. And then we have the main girl, this little girl, Kylie Curran, who I guess she's the Danny now in this film.
She's like the
gifted child.
She's the gifted child. She's kind of like freaking out. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like, kind of saying, like what Javier said is, just the idea of coming back to this universe is really interesting and fun. And like the whole time, not the whole time, but a lot of parts of the movie, I was like, could feel like if I was reading the book, it would have played a lot better.
Wait, did you read the book?
No, if I was if I read the book, like I could picture how it would be better to read it than it was portrayed on screen, because it gets kind of silly. But for the most part, it was really cool. Like, I do love the way they expanded on the original one, and it does continue Danny and like later on in life and everything that he has to deal with that happened to him in the first movie, and like it references the first movie a lot. And I think that might be a little too much, actually.
Dude, it was like
to where I think it kind of hurts the movie almost a little bit.
If you notice in the trailer you'll see they go back to the Overlook Hotel.
It's
fine, except I think they kind of maybe overdid it.
I think Mike Flanagan is the director for this. Flanagan. Right. And I like, while I was watching this, I was like, man, this guy must really, really like the first one, because I feel like I'm watching the first goddamn movie.
Yeah. And it is weird because the movie is a different tone, it's a different pace, it's a different kind of horror movie. Dude,
it was almost making me go to sleep. I'm like,
yeah, it's like the pacing was like it's a slow burn.
It was a slow burn, but then it had its peaks, and then it went back to slow-mo.
Yeah, it kind of goes up and down
super slow.
A little too much.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, I think that's why the problem with it was trying to be a little bit too much like the original, and that was like what slowed it down when it didn't really need to be, because it already was so much of a new take, or a new expanded movie, or like a new new Shining movie. It is a different type. It's a totally different type of horror movie.
If I were to think about it,
but I do like it. I do like a lot of this movie.
This way, the first one was a slow burn. It's a descent into madness. It's kind of a person driven mad by isolation and this weird place.
Yeah. It had its escalation points for the first one.
This has like its tense build up.
The second one though is not like someone going descending into madness.
Things that are happening.
The second one is literally a contest of wills. It's like a fight. It's a straight up fight between people with shiny.
Dude, I felt like I was watching
Shining fight.
I felt like I was watching some like offshoot of X-Men. I was like, oh god, and I'm like, all right.
I don't know about that, man. That's kind of
Yeah,
but I mean,
scene where, like, the girls
what else do
floating.
you expect when like people like in the trailer? You can even see it, like these people, like their powers are. He's grown up, like
yeah.
There's like this is what would be happening in this world that in the shining world where this thing is happening.
Right, where these powers exist.
Yeah, and I think it is and they do plan on a little bit in the movie where they expand on like in the future or in like more present day. It's easier to like track down other shining people and like things like that or.
Well, no, not even. It doesn't have to do with present day because even in the old school, like you could just sense them through like telepathy, like how Doc and the kitchen chef in the first one, Shining, did. They all sense each other through some telepathy here, through some like force.
Yeah,
that's the Shining itself.
Yeah.
The force.
So they still use the same way to track each other down, I guess.
Force talking to each other,
and some people are more in tuned into that than.
They're very like anything else. There's varying levels of gift.
Yeah.
I mean, as it points out in the trailer here, the little girl that Kylie Curran's character is very gifted, possibly even more so than Danny was, I guess, at that point in his life.
Oh yeah,
and so that plays a part.
And they say it in the trailer too. That's that's like a selling point, I guess. They're like, ooh, she's
even shinier.
The next shiny, yeah, even shinier.
Even shinier, yeah.
But it is kind of a mixed bag with this movie. I love a lot of it, and I don't like.
I think
I really don't like lots of parts.
I don't love a lot of it.
A couple parts
for me,
of it,
John Daniels
the
here.
chief stumbling, I think, is that it was trying a little maybe too hard to be like its predecessor. And
Dude, even in the trailer here, they show him go where Jack Nicholson in the original goes through. He puts his face through the door and goes, "Here's Johnny," right? The infamous "Here's
like,
Johnny"
hey,
line. And then they show in the trailer here that Ewan McGregor does the same
Sticks his
thing.
face in the door,
And I'm like, I already saw this.
You didn't like that. Didn't need to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus it's hard to replicate greatness because that was one of the greatest scenes in that movie, right?
And then really hard because it's gotten parodied to death in popular culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a meme. So to try and make it serious in a modern day horror film,
you can't.
You're just kind of doing like a parody of an already existing parody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
somehow worse than a parody when it's supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. It's just like adding insult to injury. I'm like, yo, man, like like Mr. Director, Flanagan guy, like everybody knows the scene.
Put that on the cutting floor. A long movie too, like 2.5 hours.
It was long as hell.
Like, cut that part right out.
It was pretty long. And but based off, like, again, to reference that they go into the Overlook, they go, they show the "Here's Johnny" shot, and then the director continuously references different parts of The Shining through this film, like almost reenacting The Shining in some segments. It was, I mean, I get it, you can have references, but it was just a little too much.
I would have been fine with even taking a lot of the musical cues and whatnot too. That would have been something, but I think they just took it a little too far. It's like a little too slavish imitating the first one. And I think part of it is just like one thing that he doesn't realize is that you have to be as crazy as Kubrick to get those kind of performances out of those actors that you did, and you just can't treat people like that anymore, even as a director. Because
Kubrick was like he was like a warden.
I don't think. I mean, like
he was like notorious for that.
Without getting too spoilery, like talking about this, but just like it was a little too much towards.
Yeah,
a little too heavy-handed. It's not even like an homage or like a nod or like hey, remember this? Or it was like literally like
no, I swear, some
trying
of it
to
was
do
like
the same, like how it's in the trailer, like they're trying to do the same shots over again. It's like you don't need to be doing this.
Not that casting aspersions on the actors doing this, because I think they, for the most part, did an incredible job. They just can't match the Kubrick levels of crazy because
you can't replicate greatness.
It doesn't. It doesn't really fit in with the pace of the movie and the tone of the movie,
right?
Is because it's totally different kind of like,
right.
story and horror and different kind of like a whole different thing going on here.
If you look at it, just even in the trailer, you see there's a much larger cast involved than in The Shining. Because if you think about it, a lot of The Shining boils down to 3 people stuck alone in the woods.
It was only like 10 people in that cast, man. Like the whole movie.
Oh, right. You had Scatman dude, Jack Nicholson, Danny, who plays Danny. His name was actually Danny.
And his wife, and then the ranger a little bit, and then
I wanted to like it more than I did.
Yeah,
but
like I said,
a lot of it was like it makes me want to read the book.
Really,
so
this makes me want to never think about this ever again.
It makes me want to read the books. So I mean, that's something.
Yeah, that had the opposite effect for me.
Really?
Yeah, I did not like this movie. We're about at the 10-minute mark here, guys. So I mean, what else did you guys like or dislike? Anything crazy?
Good acting for the most part. The girl, I forget, what was the hat girl? Rose the Hat. What's her name?
Oh yeah, I think I have it here.
She hasn't been
Rebecca
Ferguson. Yeah. She was really good in this movie. Definitely stood out. Fun time watching her.
Yeah, she was cool.
McGregor was pretty good as playing like an older, like, you know, strung out Danny.
Right.
And
the
girl was really good. Kylie.
Kylie Curran. I liked her. Yeah.
Across the board,
I think she was the best part of the movie.
And the other guy, the crow guy, I forget his name. But across the board, and even the guy, like what's his name? Not Tony, but who's Carl Lumbly? Carl Lumbly.
Doc.
Doc.
No,
yeah.
the chef dude or whatever.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Dick Halloran.
Halloran.
Yeah, Halloran. Yeah. Even that guy that played, you know, him was like sounded a lot like him. So that was good. Definitely sold me a little bit better on it.
JVR, final thoughts on this thing?
It's a solid movie, but it's just not iconic, and I think that's the problem. The predecessor was iconic, and this is just simply isn't just all right.
Yeah, it's like an okay.
I think it probably would have stood out better if it hadn't been a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
If it was its own thing.
Well, if
it didn't have to go back to the first movie,
it probably would have stood out.
It would have been better. Yeah, I think that's its main.
Yeah,
that's his main flaw.
It's its main flaw. Is that's its main thing hurting it really.
If you guys had to,
it's outshone.
If you guys had to rate it, are you guys reserving your rights to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
As usual, I reserve the right to.
Javier never rates it for some odd reason.
Whatever, man. I'll rate it. Yeah. I give it a solid. I give it a 7 because the parts I do like about it are really cool and do add to The Shining. Like it's kind of it makes sense. Like for you know that the way that world unfolds into itself. Like it's good. It's a good expansion to The Shining like world and the mythos and their powers and how that world would be.
So 7 out of 10.
So yeah, 7 out of 10, and yeah, good acting, good characters. A lot of the worst part about it is just it had to reference the original too much. It didn't really have to rely on it. It should have been its own thing a little more. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I agree with you as far as acting. I think the actors did really well with the script they were given. Again, Ian McGregor, even though he plays like some little wuss character, you know, he did what he had to do. Rose the Hat, Rebecca Ferguson, very intriguing character, very kind of mysterious, kind of like unique. So she was really cool. And again, of course, Kylie Curran, I think she did an awesome job. I don't know what else she's been in, but I'm sure this is going to help her in her portfolio of movies. So that's what I like about the movie. What I don't like about the movie is the length. The continuous references back to The Shining. I'm like, hey, Director Flanagan, anyone that's watching this movie opening weekend, they've seen The Shining God knows how many times, right? That's why we're all there to watch this thing. So, I mean, I think it was a little bit overkill on that part.
Yeah.
And then again, the way the movie panned out, it went up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, I was getting tired. I was just getting exhausted mentally from trying to follow. And then there was like a part where they go, oh, it's 1980s. Oh, now it's 2011. And then they go back and then they go forward. I'm like, what the, like, dude, pick a time zone, pick like a frequency that I can follow, you know?
Yeah, I only did it a couple times in the beginning.
Yeah, but I'm like, look, I'm like a regular Joe Schmo. So anywho, so that's what I didn't like. And because of that, I give it a solid 5
Oh,
5
wow.
out of 10. Yeah, 5 out of 10. I don't think I'll be buying this
I
on
thought
4K.
at least a 6 or something from you.
Yeah, it was a little too long-winded for me, and it was a little too kind of all over the map. There were several subplots with these like mystic people. There was a subplot.
Yeah, that's all the cool stuff.
That is the very cool. That's really cool.
It's the
There
world
was
building.
right. There was a plot with, of course, Ian McGregor having a relationship with this platonic friend relationship with this other dude. Who's Smiley in Training Day, so that was kind of funny. And then, of course, the relationship with the little girl and her parents. It's just all over the goddamn map, right? So for me,
A lot of characters.
yeah, a lot. So 5 out of 10 for me. And I mean, that's pretty much it. That wraps up my summary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pleasant dreams.
Yeah, pleasant dreams, everybody. If you can check it out, definitely. I guess my associates here would say go check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
I'd say if you're a huge fan of The Shining, it's worth seeing. But I could almost like, if you're iffy on it based on the trailers, like yourself and you're a Shining fan, I'd probably maybe just wait for the Blu-ray or Redbox or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is kind of a slow burn. It kind of all over the place, a little bit too heavy-handed on the homages there. But yeah, cool movie. I want to like it more than I did.
me too.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think that wraps up our summary. Everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Listen to us next week. We'll have something somewhere out there for you whenever. But yeah, all right, guys, signing out.